Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, and a huge warm welcome if you're new. As always, please hit the red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy. So today I'm doing my 23-week bump date. I feel like my belly has grown so much within the past 2 weeks. I feel like I went from kind of like being able to conceal my pregnancy a little bit if I wore like bigger, baggier shirts, and now I feel like it's kind of more obvious and it's harder to conceal. Not that I was trying to conceal it, but anytime I wore like a bigger shirt, like people couldn't really necessarily tell, but now it's kind of more predominant. With my coats, I've noticed them fitting more snug, so that's really fascinating to me how much they've grown, and throughout these past 2 weeks I've felt them be very, very active. I felt them move around, and I can feel them kind of turning around, or I can distinguish between them kicking and doing other kind of movements, and it's become much more distinct to me. A special moment that we had this past week was that my boyfriend was able to feel the baby move for the first time, which was really touching and really sweet. So I had my glucose test in 3 weeks, and I'm pretty nervous for that. I don't think I have any family history of gestational diabetes. I do have a history of diabetes in my family, and we also have a history of preeclampsia and placenta previa and things like that. There have been complications for some of the women in my family. So I am a little bit nervous, but my pregnancy has been going great so far. My blood pressure has been super, my weight gain has been very under control, and I think I've been doing a really good job. I haven't really been feeling too sick or anything like that. I've been really lucky when it comes to kind of feeling sick or just fatigued or just really uncomfortable. I haven't really hit that phase in my pregnancy yet, and I haven't really felt it too bad. The only thing that's really been a problem for me was like the mood swings, like I said before, and I'm still kind of experiencing those in waves. Like sometimes I go back and forth between like the crying and the laughing, and sometimes I just laugh for no reason. But yeah, overall I feel like a lot of my symptoms have been getting better. The only thing that is kind of new that's been a pain for me is I get this popping and this kind of tightness in my lower back, usually when I am sleeping or I'm on my back, like I'm laying on my back, and I don't lay on my back to go to sleep. It's only like if I'm turning over to like flip over to lay on my other side, or sometimes if I turn over too fast, or if I'm laying on my back for like too long, and too long could even be like a couple minutes. My back kind of gets really, really tight, and I feel like, I can't move because it's painful, or there's like a lot of popping. I get a lot of like popping and cracking in like my sacrum area and my tailbone. Yeah, and I really wasn't sure if that was normal. I figured it was probably the pressure that my uterus was putting on my spine, and I do have scoliosis. So I talked to my doctor about it, and they said it's probably due to scoliosis, and they said it's probably the pressure of the baby on my spine when I'm laying in a vertical position. So they recommended that I get one of those belly bands. Let me know if you guys used any of those belly bands during your pregnancy. I'm only in my 23rd week. I know a lot of women have told me that they haven't used it or they didn't find it useful, but let me know what you guys think. I know it's a little bit early. I know you're not really supposed to use them until about the 3rd trimester, but I'm just curious as to your experiences and if it helped you, and if any of you out there have scoliosis or back problems like me, like what you did to help you with with carrying the weight of the baby. Other than that, I've really been pretty good. Buying maternity clothes, that was pretty annoying. I've been trying to buy clothes that are not necessarily maternity, or just like sizes bigger, so when I'm done I can like keep wearing the clothes again and they don't look ridiculous. Something I have been feeling kind of a lot, I don't know why, but I have been feeling like these random bouts of nausea all of a sudden again, and they've kind of returned. I'm not really sure why. In my first trimester I would wake up with morning sickness, every day, and then I would feel it kind of throughout the day, and it would kind of fade around like noon, like after lunch sort of. But yeah, recently I've been getting these random bouts of nausea, and sometimes they're in the morning, and sometimes they're like in the evening, sometimes it's when I'm in the car, sometimes it's like randomly throughout the middle of the day. I don't really know what's bringing them on. I know if I haven't eaten or I'm hungry, I'll definitely start to feel nauseous, but sometimes I won't even be hungry and I'll feel these, so I'm not sure why, and it's not consistent either. I don't feel them every day, and I don't feel them at the same periods of time every day, so I'm not quite sure what the reasoning is behind that. Let me know though if you guys have experienced that too. I figured it's nothing serious. I was just kind of curious as to why that symptom for me was kind of returning, and it was a lot less periodic than my first trimester. My first trimester was very sequential. It was very structured, you know, it happened the same time, it went away at the same time, it was every day, so it was very routine. Yeah, I don't know where this is coming from all of a sudden. Another thing that's been pretty funny is I've always been a very clumsy person, but ever since I've been pregnant, I've seen that exacerbated so much. Like, sometimes, like, I'll just randomly be walking and I have to grab onto Garrett, my boyfriend, because I'll just be like tripping over thin air. That's really fun. I heard that, you know, that's one of the symptoms of pregnancy. I thought when I first heard that, I thought it was, you know, kind of a wives' tale. So I don't know if it's just getting to my head and maybe I'm, you know, just more clumsy because maybe my stomach is throwing my balance off or what it is, but I definitely have noticed I've been very clumsy despite already being a clumsy person in general. Another thing is the pregnancy brain. I usually have an amazing memory. I have a really good memory for like factual kind of things, and I'm very good academically when it comes to memorization, but when it comes to like small like remedial tasks, daily tasks, like I might forget something at home or I might forget to make a phone call that day, things like that. But I've noticed it's been worse and worse. Like somebody might say something to me and then like I might forget they say it, or I might even just completely block out what they said and have absolutely no recollection, even though we were like talking to each other face to face, and I like just have no memory of it. I've left my phone in so many places and had to go back and pray that it was still there, and luckily it has been. Yeah, and a lot of people like to crack jokes about the pregnancy brain too. But things at the doctor's office have been going well. Like, they finally have solidified my due date for March 11th, which is fantastic because there's been so much confusion about it. I kind of explained it in the last video about how they kept going by the end of my period, but that doesn't mean that the fetus was necessarily that big at the time. Because of my history of irregular periods, the baby is actually conceived 2 weeks later than my last period, which greatly affects the due date. Usually if it's within like 1 or 2 weeks, they leave the due date, but anything more than 2 weeks is kind of substantial, because then you start to get into the premature category, and the confusion about the due date is never good, because if, you know, they may call you up and say that you're late when you're actually right on time, and you don't want to have to go in for an early C-section or have them induce you when you know your child is not late, that they're at their due date or they're just about to hit their due date. So that has finally been cleared up. I finally got the other doctor's office, the first OB I saw, to fax all of the info over to my new OBGYN, and that's everything solidified. I had my ultrasound there from 11 weeks, and these doctors confirmed my due date as March 11th, so I've stopped hearing the February 28th date, which they've kept telling me just based on my last period, and the other random dates that had been floating around, because I have a proof of pregnancy letter that says my due date is March 15th, but it has my last period date as June 8th, which is completely false. I'm glad that everything is kind of getting settled in and taken care of, because my mom had a really bad experience with my younger brother because they got her due date wrong, and it ended up they thought her due date was later. The doctors weren't aware that she was late, so when she went into labor, they thought she was going through normal labor, and my brother was exactly on his due date when actually he was almost 3 weeks late, because they wouldn't listen, and there was so many discrepancies between people. You know, when you go to the doctors, there's so many different medical personnel who are coming in and out, and all it takes is one mistake or one misunderstanding that someone writes down incorrectly on your file, and then it sticks. But you do kind of have to push your case, otherwise you might end up like my mom, who, you know, despite how many times she told them that her due date was incorrect, she suffered a very difficult labor with my brother. So yeah, that was finally changed, which was a huge relief for me. I was thinking about, I really wanted to donate my cord blood, but unfortunately around me there aren't any blood banks. The hospital I'm giving birth at isn't affiliated with any cord blood agencies, which is kind of sad, because I saw on the news about all these women who were donating cord blood and all these doctors who are recommending donating cord blood, and I thought that was an amazing thing to do, because I feel like it's such a waste to just throw blood away that could just save young lives. But yeah, I would really encourage you guys, if you're pregnant, to talk to your doctor about donating cord blood and see if there's a blood bank in your area, because I think it's so beneficial. And if you guys don't know much about cord blood, I would encourage you to check it out. I'm not too informed on it. All I know is that basically the blood from your baby's umbilical cord can be used, you know, for things like leukemia, sickle cell anemia, other genetic diseases or disorders. But if you guys have donated cord blood, or you guys have more information on cord blood, please let me know, because I'm very interested, and that's something I really want to do, and I really want to advocate for. So let me know if you guys have any experiences donating cord blood in the comments below. Give me some resources if you have any. Yeah, and let me know if you know any personal stories of cord blood that has benefited anyone you know. I'd love to hear your stories. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Please hit the red subscribe button to join my journey and watch me and my baby grow together. And have a wonderful day, guys. Thank you. I'll see you next time.